A young man, at just 25 years old, managed to change the minds of millions of American youth. No one could have predicted that he would become a figure that world leaders would call "my friend." Have you heard the name Charlie Kirk? Most people know him as just that argumentative young guy. But the real story is completely different. This man forged a friendship with Israel's most powerful prime minister, then turned against him, and finally was murdered. What you'll see in this video: the secret words Netanyahu said to Charlie, the behind-the-scenes conflict between two leaders, and the shocking conspiracy theories surrounding Charlie's death. Because his story is like a political thriller movie, and the ending of this story would be tragically unexpected. Are you ready? Because everything you think you know might be wrong. What do you know about Charlie Kirk? Aggressive conservative, Trump supporter, young provocateur? The image created by the media isn't completely wrong, but that's only 10% of the story. Here's who the real Charlie Kirk was. A young man who memorized world leaders' phone numbers. An influential figure who could resolve international crises with a single tweet. And most importantly, Netanyahu's secret strategic partner. What you'll learn in this video will shock you. Why Netanyahu used to call Charlie "my son," what secret agreement they signed, why Charlie betrayed his mentor. And of course, what happened on that terrible final night. But first, let's go to the beginning. How did this ordinary young man end up at the center of world politics? Charlie Kirk. Does this name sound familiar to you? If you follow American politics, you've probably heard it, but in the beginning, he was just an ordinary American teenager. Born in Illinois in 1993, grew up in a middle-class family. His father was a contractor, his mother a housewife. His childhood wasn't different from other American kids, but there was something he didn't know yet. This ordinary young man would one day influence world politics. Here's what you didn't know about young Charlie. At age 12, he was already reading newspapers cover to cover every morning. While his classmates were obsessed with Pokemon cards, Charlie was collecting political campaign buttons. His mother would later reveal, Charlie never asked for toys for Christmas. He asked for biographies of presidents. His political interest began in high school. This was during Obama's presidency. Charlie began questioning his family's conservative values, but not to question them, to defend them. His friends called him a political maniac. They had no idea how right they would be. The incident that changed everything happened in his junior year. During a school debate about healthcare, Charlie demolished his opponent so thoroughly that the debate coach approached him afterward. "Son," he said, "you have a gift, but it's dangerous if you don't know how to use it." But there was something different about Charlie. While other teenagers were hanging out on Instagram, he was watching C-SPAN. While playing video games, he was reading political strategy books. His bedroom walls were covered with political maps, not sports posters. Charlie's high school girlfriend later revealed, he used to practice speeches in the mirror for hours. I thought it was weird, but now I realize he was preparing for something bigger. The decision he made at 18 shocked everyone. When he turned 18, he made his big decision. Instead of going to college, he founded Turning Point USA. His family went crazy. "Son, what are you doing?" they said. But Charlie was determined. His goal was simple but bold, to break the liberal hegemony in American universities. This decision would change his life forever. This is where the adventure begins. Charlie Kirk's calling was about to come. It was 2016. Trump had won the election, and Charlie Kirk suddenly began being talked about in the national media. He was constantly appearing on CNN, Fox News. Despite his young age, he was surprising everyone with his political strategies. But here's what the media didn't report. Behind the scenes, Charlie was building something unprecedented. A network of young conservatives across every major university in America. His secret weapon? Social media algorithms that he understood better than politicians twice his age. Charlie's power wasn't just his speaking ability. He was a genius at mobilizing youth. He'd post a tweet, and thousands of young people would take action. He'd announce an event, and university campuses would be in chaos. The numbers were staggering. By 2018, Turning Point USA had chapters in over 1,500 high schools and colleges. Charlie's personal Twitter following had exploded to 1.8 million. Conservative media was calling him the future of the Republican Party. But what they didn't know was that Charlie was getting restless. "I've conquered American campuses," he told his closest advisor. "But what's next? Where else can I make an impact?" The answer would come from the most unexpected place. But when the phone rang, his life would be transported to a completely different dimension. In 2019, an unexpected invitation came. The Israeli government invites you to Jerusalem. Charlie initially thought it was a joke. Why would Israel invite him? But the invitation was real, and this would be the beginning of the greatest adventure of his life. Here's the backstory, the invitation. Israeli intelligence had been monitoring Charlie's social media influence for months. They saw something that even Charlie didn't realize: his potential to shift American public opinion on Middle Eastern issues. Charlie Kirk had no special connection to Israel up to that point. He had Christian values but no special interest in Israel. But this Sayahat would change everything. The night before his departure, Charlie couldn't sleep. He called his father. "Dad, I think this trip might change my life." His father laughed. "Son, you're 25. Every trip feels life-changing at your age." Neither of them knew how prophetic those words would be. Before going to Jerusalem, he did research: Israel's history, culture, political situation. He tried to learn everything. He didn't know it yet, but he was undergoing an ideological transformation during this research process. At Jerusalem Airport, those who met him gave him VIP treatment. When they said, "The Prime Minister wants to see you," Charlie's heart raced. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's legendary leader. This meeting would be the turning point of Charlie Kirk's life. His first meeting with Netanyahu was supposed to last only 30 minutes, but those 30 minutes stretched to 3 hours. Netanyahu was listening to Charlie. He was curious about his ideas on the youth movement in America. "You're a very special young man, Charlie," Netanyahu said. "The young generation in America needs leaders like you, and we need friends like you too." Everyone who saw that sparkle in Charlie's eyes understood. This meeting would change everything. Netanyahu showed Charlie around Israel, at the Wailing Wall, at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in modern Tel Aviv. Netanyahu's influence was everywhere, and Charlie was being drawn into this influence. "I'm very pro-Israel," Charlie said at the end of this trip, but he didn't yet know the price of this. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. Charlie was no longer just an activist. He had become a player in international politics. After returning to America, Charlie Kirk had completely changed. He was no longer just talking about the conservative youth movement. He was also talking about Israel. And this transported him to a completely new stage. In 2020, an invitation from Netanyahu's office shocked Charlie. "The Israeli Prime Minister wants to see you again." This time the invitation was more official, more strategic. This wasn't just a courtesy visit. Netanyahu saw Charlie Kirk as a strategic ally. Charlie was now known in America as Israel's young friend. The media described him this way. Israeli flags began waving at Turning Point USA events. He constantly delivered the message, "America and Israel are the fortresses of the free world." When anti-Israel protests were held on university campuses, Kirk immediately took action. He organized youth, arranged counter-protests. He had now left his ordinary world. He had taken his place in the big game of international politics. You won't believe this, but here's the truly surprising part of the story. Charlie Kirk actually didn't like Israel much in the beginning. Yes, you heard that right. In a private interview in 2018, he had asked, "Why should America help Israel so much?" This interview would later be deleted, but it had been recorded. This is where the story takes on a completely different dimension. Was Charlie Kirk's love for Israel fake, or had he really undergone an ideological transformation? Behind-the-scenes sources provide this information. The reason Netanyahu invited Charlie to Jerusalem was precisely this. He was planning to convince Charlie. "I saw the potential in that young man," Netanyahu would reveal years later. "I wanted to turn him from an enemy into a friend." Did this strategy work? Now the real story begins. Charlie Kirk's love for Israel wasn't positively received by everyone. The left media began to see him as Netanyahu's extension in America. Part of the right media said he was displaying an Israel first rather than America first approach. His first big test came in 2021. The Israel-Palestine conflict flared up again. Charlie took a harsh stance. "Israel has the right to defend itself," he said. But this time the criticism came very harshly. He received threatening letters from American Muslim youth. Anti-Jewish groups declared him a Zionist propaganda tool. Even criticism came from his own supporters. "Charlie, are you thinking about America's interests or Israel's?" This question affected him greatly, because he didn't know the right answer anymore either. But the real test hadn't come yet. In 2022, Netanyahu lost in the Israeli elections. Charlie's mentor was no longer prime minister. In this situation, what would Charlie do? Would he continue to maintain his love for Israel? The answer was yes, but the price of this answer would be heavy. Here's where Charlie Kirk's most complex side emerges. Despite being one of Israel's biggest supporters, he sometimes made harsh criticisms. After Hamas's attack on Israel in 2023, Charlie took an unexpected stance. He questioned whether Israeli intelligence had prior knowledge of the attack. These words drove Netanyahu crazy. Then came the phone call that changed everything. "Netanyahu called me," Charlie revealed. "He was very angry. He asked, 'Aren't you my friend?' I said, 'Does friendship prevent us from telling the truth?' After this conversation, everything changed. Charlie began speaking more carefully now. He said, 'Freedom of speech is more important than everything,' but was more cautious about Israel. Like a tightrope walker, he was trying to both preserve his friendship with Israel and show his independence. During late-night strategy sessions with his team, Charlie would pace the room for hours. "I can't sleep," he told his advisor. "Every word I say about Israel is being analyzed under a microscope." Charlie's stance in university campus debates was this: "You can criticize Israel, but I don't tolerate anti-Semitism." Maintaining this fine line was becoming increasingly difficult. Meanwhile, the media storm was brewing. The media noticed this change. Headlines began appearing. "Is Charlie Kirk turning against Netanyahu?" Cable news shows began dissecting every tweet, every statement, but no one knew that the real drama hadn't started yet. You won't believe this. In 2024, Charlie's relationship with Netanyahu would come to the brink of complete breakdown. 2024 was the hardest year for Charlie Kirk. During Israel's Gaza operation, civilian casualties began to increase. Charlie was now caught in a dilemma. The moment that shattered everything happened on a podcast. "I support Israel, but I don't support the death of innocent people," he said during a live interview. These words had a bombshell effect across social media. Within hours, Israeli media declared Charlie a traitor. The American Jewish community reacted with fury. Op-eds appeared calling him ungrateful and naive. But the real shock came from Netanyahu himself. The official statement was brutal. Charlie Kirk is no longer a friend of Israel. The announcement came directly from Netanyahu's office. When Charlie heard this, he was devastated. He had lost his mentor, his political father figure. This became his darkest period. He couldn't sleep at night. His apartment felt like a prison. Even his team at Turning Point USA began to worry. "Charlie has changed," they whispered to each other. "He's not as energetic as before." His mother called him every night. "Son, you look terrible," she said during one video call. "Maybe it's time to step back from all this politics." But Charlie wasn't ready to give up. He had no idea that the biggest blow hadn't come yet. September 10th, 2025. The moment Charlie Kirk was murdered. He lost his life in an armed attack. Everyone who heard the news was shocked, but the real shock happened afterward. Here are the chilling details that weren't widely reported. Charlie had received anonymous threats for 3 weeks before his death. His security team had recommended he cancel all public appearances, but Charlie refused. "I won't hide," he told his bodyguard. "That's exactly what they want." The attack happened outside a restaurant in Phoenix, Arizona. Charlie had just finished a private dinner with major Republican donors. As he walked to his car, 3 masked gunmen opened fire. Security footage would later reveal the attack lasted exactly 47 seconds. Twitter. 2 million tweets in 30 minutes. Instagram. #Charlie Kirk. Truth hashtag went viral. TikTok. Conspiracy theory videos viewed millions of times. Social media was instantly flooded with conspiracy theories. The question, why was Charlie Kirk killed, was on everyone's lips. And unfortunately, fingers began pointing at Israel. The conspiracy theories were unprecedented. Charlie had been planning to expose Israeli intelligence operations. He was about to release documents about Netanyahu's influence in American politics. His death was too convenient for Israel. Charlie had been criticizing Israel lately. Maybe he went too far? Such rumors went viral. Does Israel have a hand in this? The investigation details were disturbing. The gunmen used military-grade weapons. They knew Charlie's exact schedule. They escaped without leaving any DNA evidence. It was clearly a professional hit. FBI. Investigation within 48 hours. Israeli intelligence, emergency statement conspiracy theories became uncontrollable. Charlie's family was devastated. "Our son was working for peace," his mother said through tears at a press conference. "I don't understand why he met such an end. He was trying to build bridges, not burn them." The most painful part was this. Charlie was dead, but his name was still at the center of controversies. But the story doesn't end here. Netanyahu's statement about Charlie's death would surprise everyone. Just 6 hours after Charlie's death, a harsh statement came from Netanyahu. Insane, false, outrageous. The anger in Netanyahu's voice surprised everyone. This man rarely spoke emotionally. Charlie was a friend, not an enemy. These words from Netanyahu went down in history books because he was rarely seen speaking so emotionally. But the most surprising move was this. Netanyahu attended Charlie's funeral ceremony. He went to America on his private jet. This move was very meaningful. An Israeli prime minister attending an American activist's funeral. Netanyahu's speech at the funeral. Charlie Kirk was a friend not only of Israel, but of the free world. Even if we didn't share his ideas, I respectfully remember his courage and honesty. He taught me critical thinking, being open to criticism even in friendship. These words changed everything. Charlie Kirk died, but his movement didn't die. Turning Point USA continues to reach millions of young people, and Charlie's love for Israel remains in the organization's DNA. But Charlie's real legacy is something else. He had taught young people critical thinking. You can love Israel but also criticize it. You can preserve your friendship but also preserve your independence. Netflix documentary, Charlie Kirk, the Young Conservative. Netanyahu also gave an interview in the film. Charlie taught me a lot, how to communicate with young people, how to understand them. The story of Charlie Kirk and Netanyahu reveals the complexity of modern politics. Friendship and self-interest calculation, ideology and pragmatism, love and criticism, all together. What do you think? Was Charlie Kirk the free-thinking leader that American youth hoped for? Or was he Netanyahu's strategic partner in America? Maybe both. Maybe neither. The lesson to be drawn from this story. Nothing in modern politics is as it seems. Friendships are built on interests, criticisms are made for strategic purposes, and truth is always controversial. Final question. If Charlie Kirk were alive today, which side would he stand on in the 2025 Israel-Palestine crisis? Would he remain loyal to Netanyahu, or would he maintain his independent critical stance? We'll never know the answer to this question, but we can discuss it. Write this in the comments. Charlie was right, or Netanyahu was right. Which side are you on? And if these behind-the-scenes political stories interest you, hit the bell icon. Stay informed about new videos like, let the algorithm show this video to more people. Share. Let your friends wonder about this story too. In the next video, Trump's secret meetings with Charlie Kirk and his role in the 2024 elections. This story will shock you too.